Greetings, my excellent friends. The Dead Monk welcomes you to Purgatory. I just watched the first episode of a new show called Good Omens, and I'd like to tell you about it. The whole series, all 6 episodes, have already been released on Amazon, but I plan on watching just one a week and making a review. It's more fun that way. This one's just a little late. Hopefully I can get the next review out a little quicker. I plan on watching episode 2 a week after the episodes were released. Now, I know absolutely nothing about Good Omens. The only thing I knew about it was that Terry Pratchett was involved. He's one of the authors. I keep meaning to read Terry Pratchett. For years I've been meaning to get into the Discworld series. Just never done it. And there are 41 books. That's quite intimidating. The only other thing I knew about Good Omens is that David Tennant is in it. And I love David Tennant. I even watched the remake of Fright Night, just because he was playing the role Roddy McDowall played in the original. I thought he was great. Alright, so first a brief synopsis full of spoilers. We start off at the Garden of Eden. The snake convinces Eve to take a bite of the apple. Adam and Eve are quickly shuffled off out of Eden. And as they wander off, we meet our main characters. This all happens very quickly. We have the angel Aziraphale, played by Michael Sheen, and the demon Crowley, played by David Tennant. He was the snake. They meet each other for the first time, get to know each other just a little bit, as we see Adam and Eve off in the distance, trudging away. Alright, we fast forward all the way until 11 years ago. It's late at night, it's in the woods, and Crowley has a meet up with a couple other demons, and they hand him a basket with the Antichrist in it. He takes the basket and leaves. When he gets in his car and drives away, he starts freaking out. Meanwhile, we see Aziraphale enjoying some sushi when he gets a visit from the angel Gabriel. Gabriel informs him that they have information that Crowley has received the Antichrist baby, and that means that Armageddon is approaching. Aziraphale is tasked with keeping an eye on Crowley without him finding out, as Gabriel has no idea that Aziraphale and Crowley are actually friends. Now, both of these characters have spent so much time on Earth among the humans, they enjoy it too much, neither one of them wants to see it all end with Armageddon. We go to what looks like the English countryside, where the wife of an American diplomat is being taken to the Sisters of the Chattering Order of St. Beryl, where she's going to give birth to her baby. Now, what she doesn't know is that these are really satanic nuns. The plan is that she's going to give birth to the baby, Crowley's going to show up with the Antichrist, they swap it out, and now this couple is going to be raising the Antichrist without knowing it. However, at the same time, another couple comes in to see the nuns. The wife has gone into labor and she needs to deliver her baby now. So now we have 2 babies being born at the same time. This is when Crowley arrives. When he does, he snaps his fingers to turn off his headlights, and all that did was remind me of this. I really miss when Doctor Who was good. Now, because of that unexpected second delivery, we have a mix-up. The diplomat's wife ends up with the commoner couple's baby, and the commoners get the Antichrist baby. Both children are named. The child of the diplomat, who is supposed to be the Antichrist but is not, well, he's named Warlock. And then the child of the commoners, who is now the Antichrist, he's named Adam. We have the babies Adam and Warlock. This isn't a lead-in to Guardians of the Galaxy 3, is it? But no one is aware that any mistake has been made with the babies. After all this, Crowley and Aziraphale meet up to discuss the coming of Armageddon and how they can avoid it. After all, Crowley's job was not just to deliver the baby, but also to look after it, try to influence it, guide it toward its evil path. But again, he likes living amongst the humans, he doesn't want this to happen. So he says it would be a shame if Aziraphale was able to thwart his evil plans. He's still going to do his job, but he'd be fine if Aziraphale prevents him from succeeding at it. And since Aziraphale also likes living amongst the humans, he's more than happy to try to thwart Crowley's attempts. So they discuss all this, they get quite a bit drunk. At one point, to sober up, Crowley looks like he's constipated, and that makes all the wine bottles fill back up. Anyway, we fast forward again, 5 years later. It's when the boy turns 11 that Armageddon's going to begin. So we go 5 years later when the boys are 5, and this is when Mrs. Doubtfire and groundskeeper Willie show up to take jobs they're hired on by the diplomat's household so that they can do what they set out to do. Mrs. Doubtfire trying to turn him evil, and groundskeeper Willie trying to keep him good. Except we of course have one very big problem. This is not the right child. This is not the Antichrist. Aziraphale and Crowley have to report into heaven and hell, and there's where we get my favorite visual of this episode. You have 2 escalators next to each other. Aziraphale takes one going up, Crowley melts into the floor, and he goes down the reflection of the other elevator. down into hell. I don't know, it just stood out to me, I thought it was great. So they go check in, we see a few more demons, a few more angels, and the angels aren't concerned at all about preventing Armageddon, since the divine plan is to have Armageddon and defeat all the demons then. They're all gung-ho for it. Of course, so are all the demons. The only ones who don't want it are our two main characters. Then we fast forward again to the present day. It's now the Antichrist's 11th birthday. The demons are getting ready to release a hellhound, and the hellhound is the key to triggering Armageddon. As soon as the Antichrist names the hellhound, he will gain his powers, and that will trigger the start of Armageddon. Alright, so we're at the birthday party of the child that they think is the Antichrist. Aziraphale is doing a completely rubbish magic performance. While Crowley looks on, he looks like he's playing a waiter. But they're watching over the birthday party because as soon as that hellhound shows up, they're going to try to send it away. Only problem is, it never shows up. Because of course, they're at the wrong party. And here's where we look in on Adam, who actually is the Antichrist. And this is where the hellhound is gone. Of course, it's his birthday too, and as the hellhound shows up and watches from a distance, Adam is telling his friends that what he wants for his birthday is a dog. Of course, he's thinking about what he would name the dog as the hellhound looks on, waiting for its name. This will give the hellhound its purpose. What will he call the dog? Maybe Deathbringer? Perhaps Soul Swallower? Throat Ripper? The Black Death? Nope, he says he would name it Dog. And the hellhound immediately morphs into just some adorable little rascal. Dog rushes to Adam. We have a nice happy meeting of the two. And that's basically where the episode ends. Alright, so what do I think of the show so far after one episode? Well, I loved the first episode. Thought it was great. The whole episode felt very Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to me. As I said, I don't know anything about Good Omens and I've never actually read any Pratchett. But the first episode felt very Hitchhiker, which, that's good to me. I can never get enough Hitchhiker, but it felt like that specifically in the comedy aspects. So if you don't find Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy funny or entertaining in any way, then, well, this show may not be for you. Now, visually, I thought the show seemed very Terry Gilliam to me. For example, that escalator scene that I said I really liked, that just seemed very Gilliam. So far, I don't really have any criticisms of the show. Yeah, didn't feel like anything stuck out as being bad in the first episode. Tennant was great, Sheen was great. I hope later on we can get a lot more from all these supporting characters. I mentioned Gabriel, that's played by John Hamm. Now the only negative to the show for me, and this is completely my fault, no fault of the show at all, it's just the whole time I'm watching, I'm looking at Crowley and I'm just thinking this is the Doctor. Again, that's my fault. Just watch too much Doctor Who. So my theory for the show is that they're not really angel and demon, they're just a couple Time Lords. Except, David Tennant is the bad guy. He's not the Doctor. Aziraphale, Michael Sheen, he's the Doctor. David Tennant, Crowley, he's the Master. And this is the story of them when they were young. And this is why when the Doctor regenerated and became the 10th Doctor, he took the face of David Tennant. He did this to remind himself of the early days. Now, of course, I'm just kidding. This has nothing to do with Doctor Who. They're not Time Lords. They're an angel and a demon. These are just the thoughts going through my head whenever I see David Tennant. I think that about wraps it up for the first episode. Alright, so I have no idea where this show is going, but I can't wait to see where it goes. Until we see the second episode, all I can say is, be excellent to each other. Farewell. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it and would like to encourage me to make more, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks again. A bientôt.